This training is called Creating Valuable Content: How to Format and Communicate Your Ideas, Techniques, and Other Content for Maximum Clarity and Value. By learning the methods and the techniques in this session, you'll be able to communicate in a way that is approximately 4 times as clear and understandable and approximately 10 to 100 times as valuable. If you don't learn and use this material, you will not connect with approximately 75% of your audience because they won't be able to understand what you're saying clearly, and you won't be able to sell your information products for high prices. So make sure you learn and use what I'm about to teach you. The value of what you teach isn't just in the information itself. In fact, most of the value isn't in the information itself. Most of the value is in the connecting up of your solution with a prospective customer's challenge, right? So you want to connect their challenge and your solution, and then formatting and communicating your ideas in a way that is impossible to misunderstand. And by the way, misunderstanding is really the rule in communication. Most communication is misunderstood. Most of the things that we say to each other, most of the things that we write to each other, most of the things that we communicate, they don't get across. It's mostly misunderstood. So why is most communication misunderstood? Well, it turns out that there are different languages or styles or ways of communicating and understanding. And what each of us tends to do is we communicate using our communication and learning style and not the learning style of the other person. And because we've never learned that there are multiple ways to learn, multiple ways to communicate, and because we've only learned our own style in our own style, we disconnect. We don't get our information across, and it costs us and others dearly. So here's the rule of thumb. Eliminate misunderstanding. Don't just try to get your message across. Work to eliminate all possibility of misunderstanding. When you say something one way, I'm going to estimate that there's an 80% probability of being misunderstood. If you say the same thing 2 different ways, it lowers the probability of misunderstanding, probably cuts it in half to maybe 40%. If you say it 3 different ways, it cuts it in half again. And if you say something in 4 different ways, you have a very small probability of being misunderstood. Each time, you must say it in a different way. And, as it turns out, there are 4 different major ways to communicate anything, and these correspond with the 4 ways that people learn, think, communicate, and teach. Now, I'll tell you what those 4 ways are, those 4 learning styles are in a moment, but first I want to explain how important it is that every time you communicate, every time you teach something, every time you write a piece of content, every time you make a video, it's important that it be a complete communication, a complete concept, a complete self-contained idea that is understandable all by itself. So what do you need to include if you're going to give someone a complete idea, a complete concept, something that they can take and use all by itself? Well, first you must introduce your idea. You must talk about what you're going to talk about. Then you talk about it. You give the conceptual and you give the practical, you teach the theory and you teach the action steps, and then at the end you need to wrap up, summarize, and get the person to go out and take some action. We often forget that the other person listening to us, they're not inside of our head. They don't have all of our experience. They don't have an on-ramp to the ideas that we're giving to them. And so when we start talking, they're kind of lost already, and they're trying to, like a puzzle that they're trying to put together without seeing the cover of the box. They're trying to keep up and figure it out. And when we create a complete idea or a complete concept, and we give an introduction, we say what we're going to talk about and why it's important to listen, then we give some conceptual and some theoretical, then we give some action steps, and then we summarize and get the person to take action, That's when we make our communication very effective. That's when our communication is complete. Now, what I'd like to do right now is teach you what I consider to be the best framework for creating a complete concept or a complete self-contained communication that's ever been discovered. This is the work of David Kolb, a Harvard expert, Harvard guy who figured this whole system out. I learned it from my mentor and friend Wyatt Woodsmall. This system is called the 4 learning styles. It turns out that there are 4 different ways that people learn and 4 different ways that they teach. And when we use all 4 of these learning styles, we teach with all 4 of them, we dramatically lower the probability that there will be a misunderstanding or a miscommunication, and we dramatically increase the probability that the other person will understand what we are communicating to them. The easiest way to understand these 4 learning styles is to think of them as each asking a question. The first learning style asks why. Why do I need to learn this? And they need to be motivated to learn. You need to get them excited and tell them what's in it for them if they learn what you're about to teach. The second learning style asks what. These are the theoretical types. They want to know what they're going to learn. They want the concepts and the theory. The third learning style asks how, and they need a recipe. They need specific sequenced action steps in order to learn. And the fourth learning style asks what if. What if I go out and I do it? What will I learn? And this learning style takes the technique and they go use it, and then they see what the result is, and that's how they learn. So why, what, how, and what if. So for the first learning style, the why learning style, you need to tell them why it's important that they learn what you're teaching them. You need to tell them what they're going to get if they learn it and what they're going to avoid if they learn it. You need to motivate them both with pain and with pleasure. If you're teaching someone how to lose weight, you need to say to them, if you learn and use what I'm about to teach you, you will lose weight. If you don't learn and use what I'm about to teach you, you will not lose weight, and in fact, you will probably gain more. Now, this might seem obvious to you, but for the why learning style, they can't hear you until you've connected up what you're about to teach them with the benefit or the result that they want. So always explain at the beginning of your concepts the outcome, the result, the benefit that the listener, the watcher, the reader, the person who's going through your program is going to get, and also explain the pain, the frustration, the fear that they're going to avoid if they learn what you're teaching them. That's for the why learning style. Next, for the what learning style, teach them the theoretical, the conceptual, the history, the science. If you can talk about a scientific study that was done, you can get online and do a little bit of research about any studies that were done about the topic that you're talking about. Explain the history of how you figured out exactly how the system works. If you can, maybe show them a map of how all the pieces fit together. You want to zoom out and give them a conceptual view. So, for example, if you're teaching weight loss, you might explain how the body puts fat on and how it loses fat, the science behind it. That's for the what learning style. Next, for the how learning style. How learners need specific action steps. Step 1, eat this food. Step 2, do this exercise. Step 3, keep a journal and a logbook where every day you write down how much you weigh, you write down the exercise you did and what you ate. And each of the action steps should be very specific. Okay, very specific. I just gave you a sample there. You would actually want to write down exactly which foods to eat and when. You'd want to write down exactly what the exercises are and how to do them. You would want to write down exactly how to keep a log or show them in a video. How learners need all of the action steps. And they're also helpful, of course, to everyone. And then the what-if learners, they need to go out and take an action. And everyone, in order to learn, in order to really learn, needs to take what you're teaching and put it into practice. So at the end of your concept, you summarize, You give the action steps, you summarize, and then you say, here's what to go and do right now. Here's the action step to take right now to get started. And by the way, if you really want to give them a great education, tell them what to watch for. Say, as you're taking action, here's what to watch for to see if it's working. Here's what to watch for to see if it's not working. So, why? Motivate them to learn. Tell them what they're going to get if they learn it and what they're going to avoid if they learn it. What? Give them the theory. Tell them the science. Explain the history of how it works. Tell them the story of how you figured it out. In other words, give them the what it is. How? Give action steps. How to. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what if? Get them into action. Get them to go out and take an action and then see what happens. If you use all 4 of these learning styles, you will communicate very clearly and it will be very, very valuable to your audience. Okay, so let's combine this idea of creating a complete concept or a complete communication with the 4 learning styles, and let's do an example. And I'll choose time management to work with here. Okay? So, I could say, if I was teaching an idea in time management, I could say, create a habit by doing the same thing at the same time every day for a month. This gives you an insight that you need to really change your life. It's very powerful. It's actually a profound insight. But there's something missing. And actually, there's a lot missing. Now listen to this example and see if you can hear the difference and see if you can hear the why, what, how, what if in it as I explain the same information. Let's learn about how to make it so that you automatically do the important things you need to do every day so that you improve your health, improve your energy, connect with more influential people, and increase your income automatically. And set up your life so you don't get distracted by unimportant stuff which keeps you from growing in all of these important areas. The best way to make sure that you do the important things every day is to create a habit, to make it habitual, so you don't have to think about it. You want to just wake up every day and start doing the important things. Now, as it turns out, we're already doing the same things at the same time every day anyway. We're already creatures of habit. The trick here is to figure out how to do the things you want to do instead of what you just picked up along the way and now you can't stop yourself from doing. It takes 30 days to create a new habit. This means that in order to change one, you actually have to focus on it every day for 30 days. After 30 days, it's all set and you just wake up and you do it automatically. So here's the action plan, the steps to creating a new habit and to getting yourself to do the important things every day so you can increase your health, attract influential people, and increase your income. Step 1, choose a new habit that you'd like to create. Step 2, set a time every day, ideally first thing in your day, to do it. Step 3, don't check email or voicemail before you do your new habit every day. And step 4, do your routine every day for 30 days in a row, and it will be set for the long term. Now, it's time to act so you get this into place in your life. So you start doing what it takes to get the energy increase you want, attract the influential people that you want to attract, and achieve the income that you want to achieve. So, take out a piece of paper right now and write down the new habit that you'd like to create in specific detail. If you're going to start exercising every day, write down how you're going to get ready, what you're going to wear, where you're going to exercise, what the routine is going to be. Then, mentally visualize yourself doing your new habit, your new exercise routine, 3 times in your mind. Imagine it in your mind clearly until you can see the entire thing and you see what you have to put in place to get yourself to do it. Next, put it into your calendar for the next 30 days. Put a note on your computer and your phone and unplug them and turn them off at night so that when you wake up in the morning, if you by chance get pulled over to the computer or the phone, it reminds you to go and do your exercise first. Okay, so did you hear how I took this idea of creating a habit and I pulled it apart and I added at the beginning the why you need to learn this? I'm motivating you by telling you that you can increase your health and energy, you can attract influential people, and you can increase your income if you learn what I'm about to teach you. Next, I started talking about habits and why they're important and what a habit is and how we're already living habitually. Next, I gave you the action steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then finally, I recapped and I told you what to do right now. Get out a piece of paper. Write down the habit you want to create. Visualize yourself doing it. Put a note in your calendar. Put post-it notes on your phone and on your computer. Okay, so this is why, what, how, and what if. Now you can actually do this on a very small scale, and you can do it on a very large scale. I do it when I'm making a little 30-second or a 1-minute video, very quick, why, what, how, what if. And I also do it if I'm creating a 5-day training program. At the beginning we spend a lot longer on the why, then we might spend a day or two on the what, then we do a whole bunch of work on the how, and then we do a lot of exercises and get people to go and take action so that they can get the what if. What if I try it and I see the feedback so that I learn? Why, what, how, what if. And notice also that I'm really using these 4 styles continually in all of our trainings, in all of our marketing, in all of our products. Okay? If you start listening with these ears and these lenses, you'll hear me continually layering the why, the what, the how, and the what if at all times. You don't just have to use them in that order. So why am I layering and using these 4 styles constantly and using them in a different order and always plugging them in as much as I can? Because I know that I have 4 different learning styles that are listening to and watching my trainings, and I want to make sure that I'm always communicating with all of them. Now, of course, we all are all 4 learning styles to some degree, and by saying everything in all 4 ways, you increase the probability that your communication is going to be clear, and you decrease the probability that there's going to be a misunderstanding dramatically. Now, I also want you to notice that alignment, okay, aligning these styles is really the secret of creating high perceived value. What makes information valuable anyway? Why is it that, Jay Abraham can sell a book like his self-marketing book for $1,000? Why can I sell a live training for $10,000 or a coaching program for $24,000? Well, it's because it's not about me and it's not about what I know, although that helps. It's about what the prospective customer believes that they're going to get. And if they think what they're going to get is going to solve their individual specific problem, then it's worth a lot. The value of your information is in direct proportion to how much your prospect believes that it's going to solve their problem or give them the result that they want. The value of your information is in direct proportion to how much your prospect believes that it is going to solve their problem or give them the result that they want. When you use the 4 learning styles, the why, the what, the how, and the what if, all of them are about connecting up your solution with the prospect's challenge or desire. And notice how in this example that I just did for you, I aligned all the pieces. They all connected. And if you practice this to the point where you get it and it just becomes automatic, then most of your work is done, miscommunication is driven out, and high value is brought in. So it's time for you to use the 4 learning styles and to create a complete communication. Go down below this video and download the blueprint exercises and print them out. So pause the video, download them, print them. Again, I recommend print them out at about 95% so they fit on the page, and then come back and we'll dive in. Great. Now in the first blueprint, what you'll see is that time management example that I gave you earlier in this training. And what I did is I transcribed it here and I broke it up into the why, the what, the how, and the what if. So you can actually see which section is which. Okay, so that'll help you to really visualize which is which. Next, what I'd like you to do is take out your blueprint of the 4 learning styles and let's go through it. I've created a little cheat sheet for you here to get you started. When you're communicating in your content, products, and marketing, it is critical that you maximize clarity and value and that you minimize misunderstanding. To do this, use the 4 learning styles framework discovered by David Kolb. Use the phrases below to get you started and create your own as you develop your ideas, techniques, and content. And as you can see here, what I've done is I've gotten you started by creating some fill-in-the-blanks phrases that you can just plug and play to really make sure that you get it. And you can use these as is. I actually use these phrases a lot myself, but I think that you'll find them very valuable. So for the why learning style, okay, to motivate them to learn what you're teaching them, you can say, if you learn and use the techniques that I'm about to show you, you'll avoid, and then fill in whatever it is that they'll avoid. And if you learn and use the techniques that I'm going to show you, you'll get, and then fill in the blank with the benefit or the result that they'll get. Here's a good one. Here's how this applies directly to you. And then tell them what it means to them if they learn and use what it is that you're teaching them. Here's another one. Here's what you're going to get if you take what I'm about to teach you and use it, and then fill in the blanks. And finally, remember, be specific about the result that your prospect is going to get. Double your productivity in 90 days, not get more out of every hour. So be very specific. When you say double your productivity in 90 days, you're going to double it, and it's in 90 days. It's not get more, which is, very abstract and like who knows what more means, out of every hour. Right? People don't want to get more out of every hour. They want to double their productivity. Okay, for the what learning style. Okay, so this is the theoretical types, the conceptual types. They want to zoom out and see the kind of bigger picture. Here are a few interesting statistics that will help you, and then fill in with get the result that you want, and then give them some statistics. How about this one? When scientists researched this, here's what they found that helped people get the result that they wanted. And then talk about a scientific study. Okay, all this stuff you can find online now on blogs and on news sites. Here's another. The general rule that applies here when you want to get your result is, again, a general rule. It's conceptual. It's the theory. Here's another one. This is one of my favorites. Here's the history and story of how this amazing technique was discovered. Okay, you can also say, here's the history and story of how this problem came to be. Okay, give some background. Okay, so now let's talk about the how learning style. And this one's simple. Give them action steps. So you can say, here are the 3 action steps to solve or avoid, and then fill in the blank, and get, and then fill in the blank. And then give them action steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And the key to this is each step should be very specific and detailed. Okay, so you want to say, open up your calendar program, set an appointment for this Monday morning at 8 a.m., set the appointment to repeat each week for 12 weeks. You don't want to say, put a reminder in your calendar so you don't forget. Be very specific. Take extra time and effort to cover each step in as much detail as you can to eliminate any possibility of screwing up or misunderstanding. Pretend that you're writing instructions for a 10-year-old and that you're going to be shot if they don't follow every one of them to the letter. And then finally, in the what if, you need to give them what to do right now. So you need to say, here's what to do right now to make sure that you get the result that you want, and you can say avoid the pain here. You noticed earlier I said get out a piece of paper, write this down on it, make this visualization. So give them at least one action step to do right then so that they get it into action. Because we know that the longer a person takes between when they learn something and when they do an action step, the lower the probability is that they're actually going to do it. Okay, great. So what I want you to do right now is take one of your concepts, one of your ideas, a technique that you've figured out, whatever it is that you're going to be teaching people, and create a complete communication and do it in the why, what, how, what if format. Okay, you can use the worksheet that I've given you here. You can take the exact phrases out of this. For extra credit, put it up on a blog, okay, or create a little video out of it so that we can see what it looks like, others can see it. And then the final thing I want to tell you here is I want to give you a piece of homework. It's really important that you start studying people who are good communicators and looking at their products so that you can have great examples. Now, this program, I think, is a good example of how to teach and how to make information valuable. The Wake Up Productive program is also a great program that incorporates all of these concepts. But what I want you to do is I want you to get these 3 books, okay, these 3 books right now. And what I want you to do is start reading in them every day. Okay, spend 15 or 20 minutes reading in them for the rest of this program. And what it's going to do is it's going to program you with how to communicate, how to create complete communications, and how to make information valuable. The first book I'd like you to get is by Bill Phillips, and it's called Body for Life. Body for Life by Bill Phillips. This, as far as I know, is the best-selling fitness book that's ever been written. I happen to know Bill Phillips. He's a very intelligent guy and a very smart marketer. And when you read the book, you'll notice that it's written like a letter to a friend. It's written like great marketing copy. It sounds like he's sitting there next to you, taking you by the hand and walking you through everything. So Body for Life by Bill Phillips. The next book is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Okay, this book was written by T. Harv Eker. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Also a best-selling book. This book is all about the inner game of money and wealth. Excellent book. Also written in a way where anyone can understand it. And then the third book is called The Power of Full Engagement. And this book was written by Tony Schwartz and Jim Loehr. The Power of Full Engagement, Tony Schwartz and Jim Loehr. And I just want you to notice as you're reading these books, notice how they take simple ideas, how they format them, they create complete communications, self-contained concepts, and then they organize them into a complete whole. From now on, what you really should be doing is reading from each of these books for 15 to 20 minutes a day minimum until the entire course is finished, and applying what you're seeing. Okay, we're not going to steal what they're using and actually take it word for word and put it inside of your course. But what you're going to do is you're going to notice how they take concepts, they break them down, they make simple diagrams. They take something that is, maybe complex, and they make it really simple. These guys are great communicators. All 3 books were bestsellers, and I think you're going to learn a lot from them. So get those 3 books. So good job. Take what you've learned in this session and go right now and create a complete communication, a self-contained concept. And then in the next training, we'll learn how to put these together and create a valuable product that you can sell for high prices online.